the other thing that interestingly he's done in the past in these fashion shows, which I didn't appreciate because I'm having to newly obsess on him to figure out what's going on. He's actually showed up at Fashion Week wearing other alarming costumes prior to White Lives Matter. This one is, I think, from a couple of years ago, maybe last year. I'm not sure. In a mask.
Oh, this last one?
Well, it's a kind of like got like teeth or something on it. It's hard to say. Got claws or something coming out of his mouth. It's otherwise he's wearing like a bomber jacket and some shiny fabric pants and probably Yeezys. I am so completely fashion illiterate. I have no idea. I should know what the Yeezys look like, but I don't. But it's so he's made a practice in these fashion appearances of doing alarming things like walking around in mud at a fashion show or showing up in a context in which he as a celebrity is supposed to be wanting to show off his face, but instead he's there masked. So are we actually alarmed? I mean, it's interesting that the alarm bells have gone off so strongly because and some people are saying, oh, well, I saw it coming ages ago. Of course, he's already this, but I do find it therefore interesting that at least this time with his performance, either we're now talking about it, right? It's burst out of the little bubble of the fashion world into at least, our conversation, to the point where we're saying, okay, so what's going on here? To the point where in this video, this is a still from this video, I think that I saw yesterday on Telegram, he is in a very plain mask, but you can see his eyes better this time, reiterating again the love for Mr. Hitler, and saying, that I love everybody. And I at the moment I took this still saying God loves everyone. So we're here in a mask. Why a mask? Why, it's like, why over and over and over again a mask? And this one is a drawing of him in the mask that he wore on Alex Jones with some graphics around it saying Christ is King. What are we going to do with these, the masks and the tricksterism and the willingness to stride around in mud?
What's he doing?
What's he doing? You're just waiting for me to do the read this time, aren't you? And I think in the video where he's talking about loving everyone and just he's in front of the church, right? They've caught him on camera in front of the church. That he's clearly gone completely over the edge now. I mean, this is a man who's wandered around in masks for some time in his career. I kept finding yet more pictures of him in masks. He goes to fashion shows and walks around in mud. And now we're saying he's insane? Really? Okay, well, of course, obviously, everybody said he was insane when he showed up in the MAGA hat, but now even MAGA people are saying he's insane.
Yeah, because he's wearing the wrong hat.
Yes, and these masks and saying things about loving people. In the same video, or I saw another clip of the video, he shows them a picture of Hitler shaking hands with Einstein. So the Nazi shaking hands with the Jewish genius. And he just asks him, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? And you can see that he's testing something, but I want us to think about what he's testing. For those of us further down the spectrum, right, I was very interested to learn that it includes, for example, a feeling of constantly being masked in social situations. By the end of this, I was self-diagnosed as, grade up. I'm autistic too, but I'm jumping on the A train, so maybe we're all autistic. We are, By the end of us, I just want to be like yay. So that we'll go there. But I mean, one of the things I have, I've clearly talked about a lot in my own meditations is that sense of being masked, and it's a startling thing to learn that in fact not everybody has that experience. They don't realize, they don't think of themselves as wearing a mask when they go into social situations. I honestly, truly do, and you can see that I've written blog posts about it. There's masks of meaning. What does it mean to put on this mask, the fencing mask versus the professor mask versus the live streamer mask versus the poet mask? And I am very I'm highly conscious of those as roles that I'm putting on. And this to me is comforting as a recognition that I can put on this role and I can put on that role. And they're not fake. They're just situations that I need to know how to navigate. Well, apparently this is one of the characteristics of what they call autism, right? And of course, autism, it gets turned into it's a disorder. It's a disorder to me sounds like pathology, sounds like something that other people don't understand, so they want to put stupid labels on it. I just think you're not paying attention, so there, right? But it's fascinating to me to find that Ye has practiced this mask theater previously, and so it makes a lot more sense that he put that mask on in the Alex Jones show, which I've used on my blog as a joke about someone what do you call it, photoshopped it or meme pasted it into an image of him sitting at the desk of the Oval Office, which I now, and you and I have talked about this enough with the imperial problem, see as Ye is showing how he's sitting there holding the world hostage. Well, we've been held hostage by whoever's been sitting in that Oval Office for some time with those imperial flags on either side. I'm kind of surrounded in my mom's basement by images of the empire too, because there's a lot of patriotic imagery down here. That Ye has been wearing these masks, and I think just as I have been with the mask that Milo wore when he came and was on the stream with us back in Three Craters back in 2018, or the mask that I wear when I understand myself as Fencing Bear as opposed to Professor Fulton Brown, that I get the mask thing, and therefore I'm starting to think that I understand why Ye finds them useful performatively, which is one stage, right? So masking and recognition of social situations as particular kinds of performances.
Well, it's like those African ceremonies when they're it's a kind of shamanism in the sense that you disappear for an entity to emerge in a particular ceremony, but it's not just entity, it's the messaging of whatever you're channeling. And so if you're not removed from that particular situation, it's still you there, not the message or the entity that you're channeling.
Right.
So when he's talking, he's masked, he seemed to be doing this, he's channeling. Not in the sense of voodoo, but he's channeling his own thoughts and the influence of the Holy Spirit, really, and kind of physically removing from that situation so that he can be the medium of the message instead of being a personality, being celebrity.
You've anticipated where we're going. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
I mean, so I'm finding it's not a coincidence that I end up fascinated by someone else who knows and understands the problem of masks, right? Okay, so so Autism 1, this understanding of social situations, this particular kind of performances, and your feeling of yourself having to play role. I guess. Like I said, I appreciate that once you hear a list of attributes, you could find yourself in them because personalities are very complicated. But I think this one kind of holds. The chat is saying, spinning ball, always told my students I'm a completely different person outside the classroom. This is, I use this in my training for teachers. It's like, of course you are in a role in the classroom that has a certain responsibility, has a certain kind of performance significance, that you have a responsibility to your students to be teacher in that role, which is not the same thing you are when you're Rachel outside of the classroom, right? So to me, this just sounds like common sense, but maybe it's autistic. I don't know. I mean, this is vote. Maybe you're all autists and you're all listening to us and you therefore understand masking. Mel says, I've said I forget what I look like until I see my reflection in the mirror. I have a lot of trouble holding that doing these live streams has been helpful to me because I get to see myself as others are watching, not just you guys in the live stream, but the sort of having to do all those clips, screenshots, so that we can put our covers on the YouTube videos. It's this feeling of reflection is very significant. To me, it's a mask, right? It's like I can put this mask on that I'm in the live stream, but that doesn't stay stable as who I think I am, which now you guys think I'm crazy. I'm describing the performance element, you guys, whoever's watching, the performance element. If this is autism, interesting. I find that interesting. Does this seem? I don't know what's autism. I don't know. It's like it's supposed to be. Yeah.
I'm thinking like. It seems like there's more ability to go into a realm of pure intellect.
Well, so the next element that I highlight in my conversation is pattern recognition. So masking and ability to, so this is now because I've listened to enough of Ye's music over and over and over again, and I'm reading his mom's book too, which was written by a ghostwriter. It's like on the cover, so it's not ghost, but it's co-written by somebody else. So I'm skeptical about the level of her voice, which sadly we lost because Donda West died after plastic surgery back in 2007. Odd. That she just, at one point she talks about Ye, from the time he was 12 or 13, getting his piano and working on his music constantly. So, wherever he was by the time he's in his mid-20s, he'd actually been practicing the composition for a long time. And I mean, music is kind of pattern recognition, but that his music is playing on all of these levels of different musical styles, the rap, the gospel, the jazz, the show tunes. I mean, I'm not musically literate enough to hear the layers there, but I'm hearing layers as I'm listening to his songs and recognizing that's all pattern recognition for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of like archaeology of sound. Yeah. Because he's gone through different genres at the same time. So it's anachronistic experience at the same when you're listening to it. Because it sounds modern, but he's sampling a lot of old stuff, but doing it, he remixes things in a completely logical mode. It's very, very interesting.
Yeah, so that you're and there's lovely melodies in the midst of the rap and the sound of the electronic with the acoustic, and it's all like blended in this magnificent worship. And also that I learned I've got Jesus is King, and then I'm going back and started with College Dropout. And he's got Jesus Walks there. I mean, that gospel song is already on his first album. So I'm a little surprised that people who know Ye are surprised at all. Maybe they aren't, because he's actually pretty consistent in what he's been saying all along. It's not like he's like completely gone crazy in this last minute. He has been rapping gospel pretty much Jesus Walks. I mean, since the beginning. It's the thing he got his first Grammy for, right? So pattern recognition, and also it's like that apparently obsessing so that you learn stuff fits autism too. Great, for me it's a
hyperfocus, y'all.
Hyperfocus. Shocker, nobody listens, Mel. Yes, nobody listens, right? Nobody's listening. This is so frustrating. Okay, so we've got masking, and therefore the appreciation of social performance, pattern recognition.